Hey, what's up? Welcome back to this new video. This one is topic number 1, inequalities and equations. Now in this topic, we'll be covering 13 questions, solving all types of questions possible for this topic so that you are well prepared for your exam. Of course, at the end of the questions, you also have the answers given to you right here to check for yourself. With that being said, let's move on to the questions we have for you below. So let's move on to question number 1. So here we have what? Solve the inequality. Solving means finding the unknown. Here we have to find the value of x, which is the unknown. Now, first thing first, as you can see, x is the power of this number. Now, to bring x down, to make x become subject of your formula, now the goal here is what? When you have to solve is to find the value of x, of the unknown. So we have to make this become the subject of the formula. That's the main idea for solving your question. Now here we have 0.8, as you can see. X is the power here. Now to bring x down, we have to apply log on both sides. Now you can apply ln as well. That is no problem. Does not make a difference. Now by the laws of log, we should know that, let's say we have log of a power 2. Now we know we can bring this down as well. Here it is the same as saying 2 log of a. Similarly, here we have x here. We can bring this in front. That will be x log of 0.8 log of 0.5. Alright, cool. Now to find the value of x, have to divide by this one. Now something we have to realize, well, the thing is that when we're dealing with inequality is, it depends if you divide by a positive value or a negative value. So these are important because the direction will change if you divide by something negative. Now let's check. What is log of 0.8? It is a negative value. So it means that this sign should become this way. Alright, cool. So let's rewrite this. X will become more than log of 0.5 divided by 0.8. Now this is where the most common mistakes happen. We forget to switch the sign to solve this question. So log of 0.5 divided by log of 0.8. That should be 3.106 as your answer, but of course you will provide your answer, which is non-exact, to 3SF. 3.11 is your value of x, for which your equation here is satisfied. Now there's two main points here. Is to find the value of x, we have to focus on making x become your subject of your formula. That's one. Number two, we have to know how to use this one, have to bring the power in front. And finally, when you divide by something negative, the sign will change. Let's say we had this, divide by negative, it will change to the other direction. So we have to know this for our question number 1. Now let's move on to question number 2. So here we have to solve this inequality for which this equation is satisfied, finding the values of x. Now you can see here we have modulus absolute value is more than 3. Now we have to know this formula, which is, let's say we have absolute value here of x is more than a constant a. So here we have x only one side, and here we have a constant value. Now how can you break this down? So we should know modulus will become x has to be more than this value, or x has to be less than minus a. So this is the main point of this question. We have to know how we can break this down. So similarly, this one will be, inside here is this one, so we have this will be more than 3, or this will be less than minus 3. So we use our formula to break this down. Great. Now solve one by one. So make x, again, solving means making x your subject of formula. First one, we have 2x. Send this one over here. 3 plus 7 will be 10. X has to be more than 5. This one, 2x less than, send this over here, become plus 4. X have to be less than the value of 2. So in the end, we confirm, well, we have our answers as x have to be less than 2 or x have to be more than 5. But the main point here was using this thing right here. We should know when you have modulus of something x is more than a constant, there's no x over here, we can break this down as x have to be more than a or x have to be less than minus this one. So this is the main point of this question, the principle behind how to solve this for question number 2. Now let's move on to question number 3. Solve the inequality. Again, solving means finding the value of x for which our equation is satisfied. Now, as we have seen before, in question 2 we had modulus. Here we had more than a in question number 2. So we know this will become more than a and less than minus a. That was part 2. But now here we have modulus less than a constant a. Now when it is less, it will break down into what? So we have x be between the value of minus a and a. So this is the main point of this question. So we have to kind of know this one as well for solving inequalities. So here we have, again, the value inside is this one, 9 minus 2x, between the value of minus 1 and 1. Now this only applies to when we have x on inside the modulus, only one side, and we have constant to the other side. We can use this as well directly. Now, what do we do? We have to find the value of x. We have to first remove the 9. How can we remove 9? We have to minus 9 everywhere. That will become minus 10. Minus 2x. That will be minus 8. Now to make x become subject, we have to divide by the value of minus 2. Now, as we have explained before, when you divide by negative value, the direction will change. You will have 5 here, this one, x, this one. Now obviously it just means that x is between those two values. According to the number line, 4 is here and 5 is here. So obviously x is between those two. So let me rewrite this down. Finally, you will have x is between the value of 4 and 5. And this is your answer for question number 3. And the main point is we have to know how to use this one. Now let's move on to question number 4. So here we have to solve this inequality. Now we have something similar to when you have x modulus x less than a constant. So in this case, again, what do? We take x between minus a and a. So similarly here we can do the same thing. You will have 2x minus 8 between minus 5 and the value of 5. Now we have to remove the 8, so we plus 8 everywhere, right? It will become minus this one plus 8. Let's check. Minus 5 plus 8 will be 3. So we have 3 here. Less than 2 power x. That should be 13 right here. Now the power of x, the x here is as a power. We want to bring it down. We apply log or ln, doesn't really matter, on all the sides. You have log of 3, log of 2, power x, log of 13. Great. Now we have to bring this down by the laws of log. You will have log of 3, x, log of 2, log of 13. Now to make x become subject, we have to divide by log of 2 everywhere. Now let's check. Is log of 2 negative? No. Okay, no, good. If it was negative, what will happen? The sign, the symbol, the sign will change to the other direction. In this case, it's not negative, so it will be just fine. So you will have log of 3 over log of 2, x log of 13 over log of 2. So let's evaluate the values. You will have what? X is between the value of what? Have log of 3 divided by log of 2. That'll be 1.58. And log of 13 divided by log of 2. 3.70. As you can see, we used this principle right here, which is when you have modulus on one side, less than a constant on the other side, we can break it down as x in the middle, minus a and a. That's the main point of the question. And then, of course, using the rules of log to help us find the answer in the end, which is this one. That's your question number 4. Now let's move on to question number 5. So here we have a third case. When you have modulus is equal to the constant. So in this case, what happens? Pretty easy. It is simply x is equal to a or x equal to minus a. So this is how you break this down for this kind of example. So here you can see on the inside we have this, that will be this one, is equal to 10, or as we can see, this one will be equal to minus 10. Solving means making x your subject, so let's do this step by step. We can first send this over here and this over here, so 4 minus 10 should be minus 6. That will be 2 power x. Now, I don't like to work in this direction. Let me change direction. Let me write this over here is equal to minus 6. Obviously, to bring this down, we have to apply log or ln on both sides. Doesn't really matter on both sides. Now, when you do this, you realize, well, in this case, it's not possible because log cannot take a negative value. So this will not be a valid answer on this side. Let's look at this one now. Send this over here, you will have, and this over here, 4 plus 10 should be 14, 2 power x. Rewrite that as 2 power x is equal to 14. To bring x down, we apply log on both sides. Here you go. Now, obviously, by the laws of log, this will be here. You have x log of 2 is equal to log of 14. X will be simply log of 14 divided by log of 2. That will be 3.80735. So we have to write the answer correct to 3SF as required by your question. So that will be eventually 3.81. This is your value of x for question number 5. Now let's move on to question number 6. So now we have a new case, as you can see. We have to solve the equation, but here we have modulus on both sides and x on both sides. So when you have x on both sides and modulus on both sides, just square both sides. Okay, so this is the other kind of case. Square on both sides, you will have what? Simplify one by one, you will have 4x minus 1 square is equal to x minus 3 square. Now, how can you break this down? We have a few ways. For example, we can use the formula, which is a plus b square is what? Is equal to a square plus 2ab plus b square. Otherwise, you can simply do a plus b square is what? It is a plus b times a plus b. And then you can break it down slowly, up to you. So in this case, you will have what? You will have 16 x squared minus 2, that should be 8x plus 1 is equal to x squared minus 6x plus 9. Send everything to one side, you will have 16 minus 1 should be 15 x squared minus 8, send this over here, become minus 2 plus 1, send this over here, become minus 8. Alright, so 1 minus 9 will be minus 8. Now, as you can see, this one is a quadratic equation. So we have two ways to solve this. One is by factorization, or you can use your formula if you want to. This is your value of a, b, and c, right? A here, b here, and c here if you want to use the formula. Now, I can try using factorization. Let's see what happens. 15 is 5, 3, x squared is x times x. Now again, I don't know the answer right away. I have to try. It is done by trial. Now 8 in the back is what? It is 1 times 8 or 2 times 4. So we have to choose this pair or this pair to factorize. Now by observation, I can see I will have to use, again, I guess I practiced enough already. From practice, I kind of know what to do. Now, you guys, if you don't know, you can test. Take your time, test it out. I will choose this one. To get -2, let me put 2 here and 4 here. So -2 will be minus 4 times 3 should be -12, and then plus 10. If that makes any sense, right? We always multiply this by this, and then this by this. So if you check, -12 plus 10 will be -2. Confirm. Minus times plus will be minus. So confirm this is the good factorization. So x will be the value of 4 over 5. X will be the value of -2 over 3. Now, I would say, look, if you guys don't want to waste time with factorization in this way, you can always just solve using your formula. It is less of a headache. For example, a is a value of 15, b is a value of -2, and c is a value of -8. So formula is x is equal to minus b, so -2 plus minus root of b squared minus 4 times a times c. That'll be 484 divided by 2a, that should be 30. So two values of x, x will be the value of what? 2 plus root of 484 divided by 30, 4 over 5, or x could be 2 minus root of 44 divided by 30, which is simply -2 over 3 as well. As you can see, same answers, less headache, just use your formula directly to solve for the values of x. And this is your answer for part 2 of part 1 of your question. Solving, we found these two satisfy your equation. Now for part 2, as you can see, it says hence. Whenever you see hence, it means using part 1 to help you with this. Now, in part 2, what do we have? We have 4y plus 1 minus 1 modulus is equal to 4y minus 3. Now, what is this? We should know by the laws of indices, simply 4y multiplied by 4 power 1, which is simply 4 times 4 power y. Now replace back in your main equation, so this will become 4 times 4 power y minus 1 is equal to 4 power y minus 3. Now, since the question says hence, we have to find a way to relate those two. Now, the equation of part 1 was 4x minus 1 is equal to x minus 3 over here. Now, can you see something that is relating? Can you see a relationship between those two? The answer is yes. I can see that these have to match with this, right? So therefore, I can safely say, well, by observation, x have to be the value of 4y. Now using this one, we can solve for the value of y. Now we know from part 1, x is a value of 4 over 5 and minus 2 over 3. So let's use those values to find the possible value of y. You'll have 4 power y. First one is equal to 4 over 5, sorry. So y is a power here. We have to bring it down by applying log on both sides. This will come over here. You'll have this is equal to this one. So finally, y will be simply log of 4 over 5 divided by log of 4. That will be minus 0.16096. Let's double check. 4 over 5 divided by log of 4. Yep, indeed. Of course, provide your answer to 3 significant figures. So we have to write this down to 3SF 161. Now how about this one? 4y can also be minus 2 over 3. To bring this down, we have to apply log on both sides. But as you can see already, log cannot take negative value. So this one will not be valid, so it will not be good for your answer. You can check. Log of minus 2 over 3, obviously, it will not be good. Alright, cool. So this is your answer for question number 6. The idea is very simple. The main point is whenever you have modulus on both sides, you have x on both sides, just square both sides. As simple as that. Now let's move on to question number 7. Solve the inequality. So now what do you see? You see we have modulus on both sides and x on both sides. So what do? As I've explained before, we square both sides. As simple as that. So this is the principle behind those questions. This is the concept, or this is the steps that we apply for those questions. So let's see. You will have 2x minus 1 square more than 3 square will be 9, x plus 2 square. When you apply square, it cancels out the modulus sign. So now you will have what? You will have expand, you will have 4x squared minus 4x plus 1 is more than 9 times x squared plus 4x plus 4. Now let's try to simplify over here. That will be 9x squared plus 36 and plus 36. Send everything to one side. So 4 minus 9 should be minus 5. Minus 4 minus 36 should be minus 40. 1 minus 36 should be minus 35 is more than 0. As you can see, it is negative. It is all multiples of 5. So divide by minus 5 everywhere. Now why? Is because I'm just trying to simplify the equation so I can factorize or solve to find the critical values. That's the reason why. That will become x squared plus 8x plus 7. And because you are dividing by something which is negative, the direction will change to this one. So now you have a quadratic equation less than 0. So how would you proceed now? We have to find the critical values for your equation, which is take the same equation, right, and then equate that to 0. Now we have to solve for the values of x by factorization or by using your formula depending on your preference. So you have x here. 7 is 7 times 1. To get plus 8, we have to have plus 7 plus 1. From here, x will be the value of minus 7. X will be the value of minus 1. So after you find this using the number line, this will be 0 here. This is minus 7 and minus 1. Obviously, minus 7 happens before minus 1. Now, because here we have positive 1, right? It is 1 here, positive 1. It is positive. The shape of your curve will be a minimum shape. We have to know this. Something like this. Now, we care about it has to be less than 0, so less will be below 0 will be right here. This curve will be below 0. And this happens only when between the values of x, minus 7, and minus 1. And this is your answer for question number 7. Now, what is the main concept? Pretty easy. When you have modulus on both sides and x on both sides, just square both sides to solve your equation. Question number 7. Let's move on to question number 8. So again, this is for practice. We have just done the same, not same, but similar question in question number 7. So now let's try again. So same concept. We have modulus on both sides. We have x on both sides. What do? We square both sides. That will become 2x minus 1 square less than 9x plus 1 square. That will become 4x square minus 4x plus 1 less than the value of 9x square plus the value of 2x plus 1. That will become 4x square minus 4x plus 1 less than 9x square plus 18x plus 9. So simplify, send everything to the left hand side. So 4 minus 5 minus 9 will be minus 5. Minus 4, send this over here, become minus 22. Plus 1, minus 9 should be minus 8, less than 0. Again, same steps. Everything is negative. We can divide by minus 1. That will become 5x squared plus 22x plus 8. And because we divide by negative value, the sign here will change to the other direction. Now you may ask, why did I do this? Is because obviously it's easier to work with something positive. So now you have again a quadratic equation and then this inequality. So how do we solve this? We found the critical values of your equation. So take the same equation, right? Same thing. And then equate that to 0. Now we factorize, or you can use your formula if you want to. That will be 5x times x. 8 is 4 times 2, so 4 is here, and 2 is here. Now, how do I know this? Again, it is by experience. You can try one by one, take your time. I need to get plus 22. They have to be plus 20 and plus 2. That will be plus 22. X will be the value of minus 2 over 5. X will be minus 4. Now, if you guys, as I explained before, if you guys want to solve this to find values of x, you can use your formula, right? This is A is a value of 5, B is a value of 22, and C is a value of 8. So obviously x will be minus B, which is minus 22, plus minus B squared minus 4 is C, so 22 squared minus 4 times A times C. That will be 324. Divided by 2a, that should be 10. So x will be the value of what? Minus 22 plus root of 324 divided by 10 should be minus 0.4, which is minus 2 over 5. Or it could be minus 22 minus root of 324 divided by 10. Minus 4. As you can see, either way, either method will give you the same answer, same critical values at the end. So once you have this, what do? You have to draw your number line. So number line, 0 here. Now this one obviously happens first, so minus 4 and then minus 2 over 5. Now because this is a positive value, it will be a minimum curve. Now we want the curve to be more than 0, so above 0. And this only happens for this part and this part. And this is possible when x is less than minus 4 and when x is more than minus 2 over 5 according to this one. And this is your answer for question number 8. And the same principle is what? When you have x on both sides, modulus on both sides, you can just square both sides to solve the question. Now let's move on to question number 9. So here we have to solve the inequality. Now in this case, you can see we have modulus on only one side, but here we have x on both sides. So what do we do again? We square both sides. But whenever you have something in this form, modulus on one side, no modulus but x on both sides, always remember that we have to check answers at the end. Check answers at the end whenever you have something in this form. Okay? So let's proceed. First thing first, same principle, let's square both sides. You will have 2 minus 5x square is more than 4x minus 3 square. That will become 4 minus 2 times this should be minus 20 plus 25x square is more than 4. That should be x square minus 6x plus 9. Now simplify, obviously, this will become 4x square minus 24x plus 36. Now send everything to one side. We have 25 minus 4 should be 21 x square minus 20 plus 24 should be plus 4x. 4 minus 36 should be minus 32, more than 0. Now as you can see, this one seems to be quite complicated to factorize. We have 21, 32, 4. So in that case, you know what, don't waste your time. Just use the formula to find the values of x, because we know the next step is to find the critical values of x, which is to take the same equation. We have to equate that to 0 and solve for the values of x. A, B, and C. We place back in the formula to solve the equation. So x will be minus b plus minus root of b square, which is 4 square, minus 4 times A times C. That'll be 2704 divided by 2 times A, that should be 42. So x will be the value of what? Minus 4 plus root of 2704. That will be 1/7, or x can be minus 4 minus root of 2704 divided by 42. That become minus 1/3. Now we can simplify, obviously. Well, let's break this down. This is x is equal to 1 times 7 is 7 plus 1 is 8, 8/7. X is 1 times 3 plus 1 is 4/7. Obviously using your number line as well again. This is 0. This is the value of minus 4/3. And the value here is 8/7. Now, because this is a positive value, it will be a minimum shape curve. Now, you want the value to be more than 0, so more will be above this one, right? So it will be on this side and this side. Right. So you will say, well, x is less than minus 4/3, and x is more than 8/7. Now, in this case, we have to check answers. Always recall, whenever you have modulus on one side only, and you have x on both sides, always check your answers in the end. Now, what is the main equation? It is 2 minus 5x is more than 2 modulus of x minus 3. Great. Now, to check, well, let's use this one first. Let's choose a value on this side. What is this value? Minus 4 divided by 3. It is minus 1.3. So let's choose something on this side. We can choose minus 2. Example, let x be minus 2 and see what happens. If this is also true, let's check. That will become 2 minus 5 times minus 2 is more than 2 minus 2 minus 3. That should be 2 plus 10, 2 modulus of minus 5. Now, if you say modulus of a value, of a negative value, it will just become positive. For example, if I tell you modulus of minus 5, it is simply just 5. Here we have, this one will be just 5. So 2 times 5 will be the value of 10. This will be 12. So now, is 12 more than 5? Yes, it works, right? So in this case, this is good to go. This is done. We confirm, well, we have x is indeed this one. Now, let's check for the other one now, for this one. Now, 8 divided by 7 is 1.1. Let's choose a value which is after this, so we can choose 2. Example, let's choose the value of 2. Replace new equation, so 2 minus 5 times 2 more than 2, 2 minus 1, minus 3, sorry. You will have 2 minus 10 more than 2 minus 1, which is the value of minus 8, more than the value of, that will be just 2. This is 1, right? Because as you can see here, modulus of value is just positive, will be 1. Now, is minus 8 more than 2? Of course not. This is not good. So we will not look at this as your answer. So only this will be your answer. Now, what is the thing again? What is the main concept? Whenever you have modulus on only one side, but x on both sides, always check your answers in the end. And this is your question number 9. Now let's move on to question number 10. So this one is very similar. It's basically the same thing as question number 9. Now this is to test yourself, to try again by yourself and see how can you find the answer. Again, same concept applies. You have modulus on one side only, but we have x on both sides. So it happens that we have to square both sides again, but we also have to check answers at the end. Okay, so let's do this. First, square both sides. You will have x minus 2 square less than 3 minus 2x square. That will become x square minus 4x plus 4 less than the value of 9 minus 12x plus 4x square. Now send everything to one side to simplify. So 1 minus 4 is minus 3. Minus 4 plus 12 should be plus 8. This one minus 9 should be minus 5, less than 0. Obviously, I prefer to work with the positive value here. Let me divide by minus 1 everywhere. So you will have the value of what? 3x squared minus 8x plus 5. Because we're dividing by negative value, this will change sign. Now one more time, you are dealing with a quadratic equation right here. We have to find the critical values of your equation. How? By taking the same equation and just equating that to 0 and solve for the value of x. Now, let's see what can we do. So we can definitely, we can definitely try and solve and see what happens here. So here we have what? Again, it seems that, let me double check this one for you. It seems to be okay. So we have to solve. Here we have two brackets. This is factorization by 3x times x. 5 is simply 5 times 1. To get minus 8, we have to have minus 3 and minus 5. Of course, we multiply this way, right? So minus 3 minus 5 is minus 8. Confirm minus times minus is plus, so confirm it is a good factorization. But then again, if you are not sure about your factorization, what do? Always use your formula for your answers as well. So here we have a as a value of 3, b as a value of minus 8, and c as a value of 5. X will be simply minus b will be 8 plus minus b squared 64, which is b squared, minus 4 times a times c. That'll be 4 right here. Divide by 2a, which is 6. So x will be the value of what? Plus 2 divided by 6 should be 2 over 3. Or it could be 8 minus 2 divided by 6. Just 1. As you can see, x can be the value of 5 over 3 or 1. So similarly, here we have x equal to 5 over 3 or 1. So both ways will give you the same answer. Depends which one you prefer. So for me, I believe whenever it's kind of tough, just use your formula directly. You don't have to even worry. In the end, you just solve your value for values of x. Now we found the critical values. We draw a number line as usual. This will be 1. This is 5 over 3. Now because this is of course positive, we'll have a shape like this, your minimum curve as usual. And as you can see, it has to be more than 0, so have to be on this side and this side. Right. Now it will be x have to be less than 1, or so n, I guess, and x have to be more than 5 over 3. Now, as we should know by now, whenever you have modulus on only one side but x on both sides, we check the answers at the end of your question. Now let's use that, but again, our main equation is x minus 2 less than 3 minus 2x. Let's use some value before 1. Let's choose x is 0, for example. You will have 0 here, minus 2 less than 3 minus 0. That should be 2 is less than 3. Yes, it is true. So it works out. This is a good value. X is less than 1 for now. Now, how about this one? Let's choose a value more than this. So this is simply the value of 1 something. Let's choose x is equal to 2, for example. Replace, you'll have 2 minus 2 less than 3 minus 2 times 2. This will be 0 less than the value of minus 1. Is that true? Is less than minus 1? Of course not. So this is not a good limit for our question. So you will have only one value or one set of values for x is this one. As you can see, this question is very similar to question 9. The concept is pretty simple. Whenever you have modulus on one side but x on both sides, always check your answers in the end to find the one that corresponds to your question. Now, why does this happen? You will see this in the next question. Question number 10 is done. Let's move on to the next one. Now let's move on to question number 11. So part 1, sketch the graph of y equal to modulus 2x minus 3. Now, how would you sketch this graph? So step number one, let's ignore the modulus. Let's say we only had y equal to 2x minus 3. That's the first step of how we sketch this graph. We first ignore the modulus sign. Now, this is a straight line, as we can see. So how do you sketch a straight line? We have to find two passing points on the line. Now, you can choose any values of x, anything that makes your life easy. I will choose x to be 0. Y will be the value of minus 3, obviously, right? Now, let me choose something else. X could be the value of, well, I'll choose 2. Y will be the value of 1. Let me also check on the, when y is 0, on the x-axis, what happens? That will be, x will be the value of, send this over here, should be 3 over 2. Okay, so we have a passing points to sketch the line for us. Let me try to draw the axis now. Here you go. Scale them. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Minus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And on top as well. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. This is your x-axis. Label this. And also label this as well as your y-axis. So the first point here we have what? The first point we have is 0 minus 3. So let's see. 0 minus 3 should be right here. And then we have 2, 1. So 2, 1 should be right here. Okay, so to sketch the graph, we can just simply join these two by a straight line. Obviously it continues here, but let me use a different color. This is my equation of line, as you can see. Of course, it keeps going on. There's no need to stop. This will be my line. And this is the line of y equal to 2x minus 3. As you can see, this is the line. Now, what does a modulus line mean? It just means that everything below will become upside. Everything will be positive. So this point will become the point of 3. So just join this with this. 1, 2, 3. Minus 3 will become 3. And this will be our answer for your question. Of course, you have to erase this one. Only the red one is your answer. In the end, label this as your graph of this one. Y equal to this one, which is your answer for part 1, only for 1 mark. Done. Now for part 2, of course, it's also a good idea to explain that, or to know that, to show that you know this is the point of 3 over 2. Because you have shown here on the x-axis, this is the value right here as well. You should maybe show this as well, so that they know that you know this is the value over here. Part 1 done. Part 2, we have to solve the inequality. As you can see again, we have modulus on one side, but x on both sides. So we know how to solve this using the equations from question. It is very similar to question number 10 and 9, but here we want to use the graph approach because I want to show you guys what really happens when we solve this equation. Now, as you can see, we have sketched this one already, which is the red one. Now let me use a green color to sketch this graph of y equal to the value of 3x minus 1. Again, how do you sketch a straight line? We use two passing points. When x is 0, the value of y is minus 1. When y is 0, I guess it's not easy to work with. Let me choose something else. When x is the value of, let's say, 2 or 1, the value of y will be the value of 2. Again, your goal is to make your life easy, not choose something that make your life hard, right? Again, you can choose any values you want to, just something easy that you can work with. First is 0 minus 1, so 0 minus 1 will be right here. And then we have other point is what? It is 1, 2. 1, 2 will be right here. Now by joining those two, you will have the line of 3x minus 1. Cool. Now as you can see, there's only one point of intersection, which is this point. Now what is the equation of this line? So this line has equation, we should know it is y equal to 2x minus 1, because this is exactly what we sketched in the first place. Now what is the equation of this line? Pretty easy. It is simply y equal to minus 2x minus 3. Now you can see clearly the green line and the red line, they meet for this line over here. So it means that I have to solve. Let me find this point of intersection. This point of intersection is between two lines. The first line is y equal to minus 2x minus 3 and y equal to 3x minus 1. Makes sense, right? Right? Because at first we do realize that this is the equation of this line. But what is this one? This one is simply have a minus sign in front. And the green line actually meets this one, so they will have a point of intersection we can solve using simultaneous equation. So y is subject already. Let's solve. You have minus 2x plus 3 is equal to 3x plus minus 1. Send this over here, this over here, have the value of 4, and this will be the value of 5x. X will be the value of 4 over 5. So it means that the point of intersection here is 4 over 5. So this is the values of x. Now we use that to find your answer for your question. So for what values of x is your green line more than the red line? By observation, you can see clearly the green line is above the red line when we look at values over here. Over here you can see the green line is always above the red line. But over here you can see, if you cover this, the green line is below the red line, so it's not good, so it has to be over here. So your answer will be, obviously by observation, you can see that x have to be more than 4 over 5 for your answer, part B of your question, done by observation. Now obviously you can always go back and use your calculation, as we have seen 9 and 10, how we can solve this as well, and you will have only one set of values of x for your answer. And the reason why, as you can see, that's the reason why behind why we have only one set of values for x. This is your question number 11. Then let's move on to question number 12. So let's try one more time the same type of questions to make sure you understand what we do or what steps we take to solve this kind of question. The reason why is because I strongly believe that you may actually get these kind of questions for your exam for this year. So first thing first, sketch the graph of this one. Step number 1, we ignore the modulus sign. So sketch x equal to minus 2. Now to sketch a straight line, we found two passing points. Let's choose x to be the value of 0, for example. Y will be the value of minus 2. Let's say we choose y to be 0. X will be the value of 2. So these are the passing point for that line. So now of course we sketch or draw the scale for the graph. This is the y-axis and this is the x-axis. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, minus 1, minus 2, minus 3, 4, and 5. And same steps over here as well. We have to scale the graph as shown previously. Always don't forget to scale them properly and always label them as x and y over here. So the first point we have is what? Is 0 minus 2, so 0 is here. Minus 2 is 1 and 2. And we have 0, we have 2 and 0, so 2 will be 1 and 2 right here. So you can see this is the two passing point. We join those two to form the equation of the line. Now obviously we follow the same steps as we have seen before. We first sketch the line, this one, join with this one, we stop right here, and then we show, well, this is this one right here. Again, you don't need to do all this. I am just showing you that because I want you guys to know how to sketch this. Now of course, through experience, through a lot of practice, you don't need to sketch the one below because we know what's next. The meaning of modulus is simply everything below will flip upside. This was minus 2, this will become plus 2. So you will have this will become this one. Your answer is not the blue one, by the way, it's only the red one. So you have to erase this one in the end. So you have to take it off. Only this is your answer, and always label this as your graph at the end. Now, one thing again we should know, this is the equation of y equal to x minus 2, right? This is the equation of what? We just have to add the minus sign in front. This is the minus x plus 2. So that we know and prepare for the next part of the question. So now we have to solve the inequality. As you can see, we have modulus on one side only, but x on both sides. So it means we will have only one set of values of x that satisfy our equation. So we have to first sketch this graph. This is one of the ways of doing that, or you can square both sides, so on and so forth. So here you go. I will try to sketch this graph again just to show you guys how we can find the answer. Y equal to 3x minus 4. Straight line, we have to find two passing points to sketch the graph. So x is 0. Now again, you can choose any values of x you want to. Choose something that will make your life easy. Y is the value of minus 4. X is the value of, let's say, 2. Y will be the value of 2. So now I have my two passing point. I can sketch my graph pretty easily. 0 minus 4 will be over here. And then we have the value of 2 and 2 should be over here. As you can see, this green line also will cut my graph at only one place, which is right here. Now we have to find the point of intersection. This equation, as we know, it is the line y equal to 3x minus 4. Now, which lines meet? As you can see, this line and this line meet, and this is the equation of this line, and this is the line of this one. So obviously we have to use those two equations to solve to find that point of intersection. Y is equal to minus x plus 2, and y is equal to 3x minus 4. So replace, you have x over here is equal to 3x minus 4. Send this over here, you will have, and this over here, 6. 4 over x. X will be the value of 3 over 2. So the point of intersection here is simply 3 over 2. Now the question is, when is my red line less than the green line? So by observation, you can see if I cover this side, you can see the green line is less than the red line, which is not what we're trying to find. We're trying to find where is the red line less than the green line, so which is only on this side. The red line is less below the green line on this side, which is when x is more than this value. So therefore, by observation, you can say, well, I can see that x is more than this when this happens. Therefore, this is your answer for question part B for 3 marks. Otherwise, you guys know what to do. Square both sides, solve for the values of x, and then check your answers and choose this one as your answer in the end. This is your question number 12. Now let's move on to question number 13. So here we have to solve the inequality. Now we have this equation right here where a is a positive value. Now sometimes you might get scared when you see that we have something unknown to find, but the concept is the same. Again, what do you do here? When you have modulus on both sides and x on both sides, we do what? We just follow the steps. We square both sides. We trust the process. So you will have 3x minus a square more than 4 times x plus 2a square. That will become 9x square minus 6ax plus a square is more than 4x square plus 4ax plus 4a square. Now that will become 4x square plus 16ax plus 16a square. Send everything to one side, so 9 minus 4 is 5. X square minus 6 minus 16 should be minus 22. Ax plus 1 minus 16 should be minus 15a square. Now, same steps apply. How would you solve this? We take this one, it is a quadratic equation, we equate that to 0 to find the critical values of your equation. Now in this case, obviously we cannot use the formula. We have to know how to use factorization in this case. Now step by step, we have two brackets. What is 5x squared? It is 5x times x. Great. Now what is 15a squared? 15a squared could be a, so 1a times 15a, or it could be 3a times 5a. So we have to select this pair or this pair to factorize. Obviously it is done by trial and error. Take your time, keep trying. Now for me, I could see already it should be, which one? It should be 5a over here and 3a over here. Because here we have to have minus 25, 5 times minus 5, and plus 3a to get minus 22. So this is the factorization of this one. So finally, solve. X will be the value of minus 3a over 5. X will be the value of 5a. So once you find the value of x, we have to use the number line as usual, right? This is the value of minus 3 over 5a and 5a. Now because this is a positive value over here, you will have the shape. Right. Now this is 0 obviously, so we need this to be more than 0, have to be on this side and on this side. So obviously in the end, x have to be less than minus 3 over 5 and x have to be more than 5a. So two set of values of x for your answer for question number 13. Now again, as you can see here, we have modulus on both sides, we have x on both sides, so we don't need to check the values. We have two set of values for x satisfying the equation number 13. And that's the last question in this list. Let's move on to the next video for a summary of everything we have learned for this topic. Now, so let's move on to the summary for this topic. So number 1, so when you have modulus e is equal to a constant, we can break it down into what? X is equal to the constant, or x is equal to negative that value. Number 1. Number 2, when you have what? So modulus some value is less than the constant, it is simply x in the middle minus a over here, and here we have a. Number 3, when you have this one more than a, that will be more than a or less than minus a. Great. Now number 4, which is also useful, let's say we have 2 power x. So to make x become subject, we have to apply log on both sides of the equation so that we can bring this x in front. Number 5, when you divide by a negative value, the sign from this will change to less than, and the sign from less than will change to more than. Now what else did we learn? Number 6, when you have modulus on both sides, we just square both sides, make your life easy, and then use number line to, when it is equal, there's no need to use number line, obviously no, but 7, let's move on to 7. When you have this one, it is this or this, we proceed by squaring both sides and then using number line to find your set of values for x. And then I think this is the last one. When you have modulus on just one side, and then here let's say we have more than, let's say, x plus b, right? We will have to obviously first square both sides and then check your answer at the end to choose which one is valid. That's the 8th part. Now summary for now, part 9. when you have to sketch a modulus graph, let's say this one, we first ignore the modulus, right? We'll just sketch the graph directly, and then in the end, we'll just reflect everything below to the top, everything negative to positive, as we have seen in the two examples we had for this topic. And this is basically everything we have for this topic of inequalities and equation number 1.